This might be a bit ironic, but Google's AI says a fad is
a collective behavior or product that gains intense, widespread popularity over a brief period and fades away just as quickly. Driven by social influence and the desire to fit in, fads range from novelty toys and slang to viral social media challenges and diet trends. Understanding fads involves looking at how they differ from long-term trends and the psychology behind why they take hold.
You know what a fad is?
In the 1920s, it was flappers and fruit cocktails. The Ayinako and the new Dunkin' Yo-Yo. The 30s saw people mesmerized by Betty Boop, dance marathons, the Shirley Temple doll, and mock apple pie. The 40s witnessed tomato soup spice cake, the Slinky, and the Davy Crockett craze. The 1950s became caught up in space with Tang, the hula hoop, and short-lived personal fitness with the Jack LaLanne show. Then the 60s embraced the twist, the sauna suit, space food sticks, and vibrating belts. The 70s fell for fondue, the leg beauty kit, mopeds, pet rocks, mood rings, and platform shoes. The 1980s took on sugary celebrity cereal. The 80s had Cabbage Patch Kids, Beanie Babies, Jazzercise, the Hacky Sack, Jelly Shoes, Kush Balls, the Rubik's Cube, Game Boy, and people once again tried fitness with Sweatin' to the oldies. Then in the 90s, women were captivated by the Thigh Master, the floss dance, juicing, slap bracelets, the Macarena, the fanny pack, troll dolls, Tamagotchi, Nokia's Snake, and Heelys. The new century saw Livestrong bracelets, the iPod Nano, MySpace, Quinoa, the Wii Fit, sugar-free diets, the Shake Weight, Angry Birds, Bone Broth, Kale, Sober Curiosity, Gangnam Style, the Cronut, Avocado Toast, Purple Vegetables, the Ice Bucket Challenge, the Dress Debate, Man Buns, Apple Cider Vinegar, Fidget Spinners, Souping, and Root-to-Stem Cooking.
With every instance listed, minus a very few holders on. They all appeared suddenly, peaked quickly, and lost their appeal just as dramatically. They typically lack long-term practical utility and vanish into obscurity once the initial novelty wears off. A few lasted longer and some even stayed around, but in far less popularity.
Sound familiar? Add artificial intelligence to that list.
After decades of quiet, academically sponsored research into brain function, seeking the definitions of intelligence and consciousness, and the ability to help those who needed mental corrections, from truly well-meaning geniuses like Marvin Minsky and Aaron Sloman, and even Rodney Brooks, people started throwing in the towel, accepting replication instead of understanding, and decided if it looked like a duck, acted like a duck, it must be a duck. Their duck is nothing more than a cartoon of a duck. But the sponsors and investors and general con artists behind today's AI craze don't want you to notice that. Unlike every other fad in history, artificial intelligence has one thing going for it the others did not. It can look human-like. We call that anthropomorphism, and it is a disgusting, lazy way of evaluation. But it is the easiest way to try to understand something new. If it results in an answer, we call that thinking. It is not. If it reaches a result, we call that a conclusion. It is not. If it can find things very fast and makes us impressed, we call that intelligent. It is not. If it can make mistakes and they come in bunches, we call that hallucinating. It is not. The real danger with this new fad is relying upon it for more than it really is. Now that AI is on top of everyone's mind and has promises of dollar signs and profits behind it, those who portray the mere programming protocol as intelligent are falling for their own confidence scam. On June 5, 2026, Science Daily published an update from the conversation, entitled Science News from Research Organization. Scientists are seriously asking if bees and ChatGPT are conscious. It quotes studies on consciousness but never defines it, and it is summarized as,
New studies suggest consciousness can't be judged solely by behavior, whether it's a chatbot discussing philosophy or a bee searching for nectar. Researchers are increasingly focusing on the internal mechanisms of brains and computers, concluding that today's AI is likely not conscious, while leaving open the possibility for both conscious insects and future machines.
Not one clue what consciousness is. Not one clue what intelligence is. Not one clue. In fact, not even one evaluation attempting to define what is then projected to be anthropomorphically injected into the discussion. They don't know what it is, but they measure it by seeing what it might do and then project what they see upon non-human things, as if it makes any sense. And these people are experts? No, these people are flat stupid.
There are many different ways of studying consciousness. One of the most common is to measure how an animal or artificial intelligence AI acts. But two new papers on the possibility of consciousness in animals and AI suggest new theories for how to test this. One that strikes a middle ground between sensationalism and knee-jerk skepticism about whether humans are the only conscious beings on Earth.
These people are stupid.
Questions around consciousness have long sparked fierce debate. That's in part because conscious beings might matter morally in a way that unconscious things don't. Expanding the sphere of consciousness means expanding our ethical horizons. Even if we can't be sure something is conscious, we might err on the side of caution by assuming it is. What philosopher Jonathan Birch calls the precautionary principle for sentience.
These people are very, very stupid.
The recent trend has been one of expansion. For example, in April 2024, a group of 40 scientists at a conference in New York proposed the New York Declaration on Animal Consciousness. Subsequently signed by over 500 scientists and philosophers, this declaration says, consciousness is realistically possible in all vertebrates, including reptiles, amphibians, and fishes, as well as many invertebrates, including cephalopods, octopus and squid, crustaceans, crabs and lobsters, and insects.
These people are simply absolutely stupid. Ignorance is a dangerous thing when you start assuming you know what you don't know. Then apply that to anything. That makes you stupid.
In parallel with this, the incredible rise of large language models such as ChatGPT has raised the serious possibility that machines may be conscious. 5 years ago, a seemingly ironclad test of whether something was conscious was to see if you could have a conversation with it. Philosopher Susan Schneider suggested, if we had an AI that convincingly mused on the metaphysics of consciousness, it may well be conscious.
Here comes the fad. Embraced, loved, nurtured, stupid. And no, that ironclad test is nothing but observational delusion. It rules science today, and now business as well. Billions of dollars are being invested in data centers to allow AI to prosper and make nice fake films and create talking animals and animate your long-lost relatives.
By those standards, today we would be surrounded by conscious machines. Many have gone so far as to apply the precautionary principle here too. The burgeoning field of AI welfare is devoted to figuring out if and when we must care about machines. Yet all of these arguments depend in large part on surface-level behavior. But that behavior can be deceptive. What matters for consciousness is not what you do, but how you do it.
No, it is not. With no understanding of any specific thing, the result is pure error. If you evaluate that thing based on what you already know, that is stupid. While AI welfare is stupid based on stupid, enhanced with more stupid.
The verdict: no existing AI system, including ChatGPT, is conscious. The appearance of consciousness in large language models is not achieved in a way that is sufficiently similar to us to warrant attribution of conscious states. Yet at the same time, there is no bar to AI systems, perhaps ones with a very different architecture to today's systems, becoming conscious.
Oh yes, there is. AI is not relevant to intelligence in the least bit. Consciousness is not an emerging quality. There indeed is a bar to AI systems. It's called ignorance, run by idiots. Sadly, so many other idiots invest in it, and we'll all find out eventually how stupid that was. Can a conscious, artificially created intelligence platform be constructed? Yes, it can, but not by ignorance. And it will be. A fad is
a collective behavior or product that gains intense, widespread popularity over a brief period and fades away just as quickly.
The only thing not yet observed is that fade. With AI, it will be a collapse, or it will be the destruction of humanity's intellect.